Hello, hello. How is everybody doing? This is TrevisMichelle, host of Late Night with TrevisMichelle. Yes, what I try to do is make sure that I give people an opportunity to come on. So I have my banner displayed until I get real techie and actually have my music going. How's everybody doing this Wednesday? It is hump day. It's middle of the week. You've made it. You have a couple more days. Um, how are you showing up? Are you showing up for yourself? Are you bossing up for yourself? Let me tell you about the premise of Late Night with TrevisMichelle. Ugly side of the backstory. A lot of people are like, what is that ugly side of the backstory? What does that really mean? What it is my guests come on and they share not only their successes, but the challenges that they meet along the way. Because if you're like me, I just want to get to the end result. I don't want to have to go through the steps, but we have to take the steps. We have to go through the journey. And what it does when people can see that, wow, you're successful, but oh, you have some failures too, but you didn't let it stop you. Oh, you had to go through a divorce or maybe work two jobs, have children, marriage, life, another job, whatever it is, and you still did it because you persevered, because you didn't give up, because you stayed present. So our guests will give gems, coping mechanisms, skills, so that it helps us. Okay, and that's what the ugly side of the backstory is about. In addition to that, hello, Kay. Thank you so much for popping in, Queen. Uh, in addition to that, I am a confidence coach and expert. What am I an expert on? I'm an expert on forgiveness. Because if you don't forgive yourself first, let me tell you, man, you can forget everybody else. And then you keep wondering why things aren't going right because you haven't forgiven yourself. And that's what we need to do more of. The other is freedom. Once you forgive yourself, it frees you up. That dead weight is gone. And I've had to do this process several times, and that's part of life. And the other is redemption. So, how that's done is through my methodology, WALK, which is willing participant, because everything starts up here. My grandma always says, tail follows the head. So, if your head isn't in the game, the rest of you are going to be struggling. In addition to that, you have the A, which is action steps. If you need to lose weight, you need to spend more time meditating or in the Word. Um, you need to do yoga, whatever it is. You need to hire a coach, right? Um, Whatever that is for you, you need to take action steps. You can't sit on the sidelines and just say it and not be about it. L, love yourself. That's where that forgiveness comes in. You really do need to forgive yourself. Love yourself with all your, um, you know, yeah, I'm not perfect. All of your imperfections, you still need to love yourself. And then K is kick butt unapologetically. That's right. Don't apologize for who you are. Don't apologize for your past. People keep wanting to bring up your past. Well, let that be their issue and not yours, because this is how you move forward. And then you can walk with your head held high, your back straight, your chest stuck out, and say, that's right, that's me. This is the new and improved because I'm here for me. So that's exactly what I do. I'm really excited because I have some new things coming out. Oh my goodness. When I tell you, you sometimes got to hire different coaches, and you have a coach for different things and for different seasons. So you're going to be hearing about something coming up great. Y'all know about my journal, Boss Up with Confidence. You can go to Amazon and purchase it. And, or you can just type in on Amazon, Travis Michelle. That's right, because I show up. My SEO is good. And purchase that. It's 30 days journal on how to gain back your confidence one step at a time. And it takes you through the WALK method. And I have that journal for 30 days because people need quick wins. We don't need it to take all year, 6 months, 3 months sometimes. Sometimes you just need that quick win so that you can then go on and you can stay in the game. Because see, when you have skin in the game, then you want to stay in the game, right? But you have to stay present for that. You can find me on IG at Travis Michelle. You can find me on Clubhouse at Travis Michelle, also on Facebook and YouTube. So I always forget to ask people, I have a new YouTube channel. This does go out on YouTube, to go ahead and subscribe. Thank you. Let me get my subscriptions up. It's still kind of new to me. And, I have chemo brain. So, with that being said about the chemo brain, this is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. And I am imploring, I'm begging women, especially our Black and Brown women, go to the gynecologist, get your pap smear, have your physical. Sometimes you forget it. So do it at the beginning of the year, the end of the year, or on your birthday. You have to take time for it. Some of us have PTSD. Find the medical team that is sensitive to your needs. Get it done. I am still in my journey with cervical cancer. It is curable, but it is aggressive treatment, and y'all don't know. It's everything to be on here today. Everything. I can't. I just don't want to talk on the phone because I'm just tired. I brought a load of just my own clothes upstairs. My son's fussing at me like I don't have to do that, but I wanted to feel like I was doing something. So I brought my basket upstairs. You know, let me tell you, I brought that basket upstairs and had to throw my body across the bed. It took me like 3 hours before I could even think about getting up to even fold my clothes because of my treatment being so aggressive. So I'm saying that because there are other people out there, women who are going through cancer treatment, men going through cancer treatment, and people just don't know what to say to us. And they don't understand that just breathing and getting up takes a lot of energy, right? But guess what? We show up anyway because that's what we're going to do because we're going to fight for our life. So today I am so excited tonight because we have, and it all ties in. And that's why I wanted evangelist Sherrell Mims to come on tonight and hi, Dr. Joe, thank you for popping in. She's all about the caregiver, right? We all have people, or most of us, and if you live long enough, like my grandma says, you'll have to take care of a family member, a husband, a mother, a grandmother, grandfather, a child, or even a friend. And how do you take care of yourself during that process? How do you stay healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually during this process? So, without further ado, I'm going to read. Evangelist Sherrell D. Mills is a best-selling author and contributor of several books that have captivated readers worldwide. Also known for her brand, Miss Sherrell Speaks. The speaker has shared her story as a teacher, caregiver, and entrepreneur. Her book is entitled I Will Wait Until Morning, a caregiver's memoir on assisting a loved one with cancer. It captured millions of readers as Sherrell went deeper into her personal journey and experiences. Additionally, Sherrell D. Mims is the #1 best-selling contributing author for Unleash Your Undeniable Impact, National Prayer Book for Everything Under the Sun and Women Inspiring Nations. I'm Still Standing, Volume 3. I'm still standing. Her knowledge as a caregiver, advocate, inspiration leader, and transformational speaker has reached multitudes and uplifted spirits across the globe. She states, I am an expert when it comes to being a caregiver. I have been a personal caregiver since the age of 11 and a professional caregiver since 1985. Caregivers play a huge role in the healthcare industry. Their services have changed the lives of so many injured patients, elderly retirees, and those in need of hospice and palliative care. For Sherrell, caring for other people comes naturally as she has been doing it since a young age. Without further ado, we are going to bring on Evangelist. Yes. How are you, Queen?
I am fantastic, Queen. Thank you so much for the invite. I am so happy to be here and share nuggets and wisdom with your audience tonight. It's a great time to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We always
Absolutely.
have to have our beverage of choice. I have my Pellegrino sparkling water. So what do you have? Your tea? Okay.
I have hot tea. This is the green orange tea or black orange tea or whatever. But
Mhm.
cheers.
Cheers. Thank you. We have to keep our
Hmm.
throats moist, okay?
That
And
is
I have to
correct.
stay hydrated. I thank you so much for being a guest and coming on. I mean, as soon as I said it, you were like, yes, I can come, no problem. So I really appreciate that. But I know you says here that you started out as a caregiver at the age of 11. who were you caring for at age 11?
My dad. Thank you for that question. You know what? Life is full of unexpectancy. I'm telling you, this was something. This was not something I expected. It happened. It just happened, right? My
Mm-hmm.
dad, unfortunately, had alcohol-induced seizures, and we're not
Mm,
talking about just little seizures, the little petite seizures. We're talking about grand mal, where the whole body just went into that rigidity, and he was the biting of the tongue, the whole gamut. Most of the audience may not know about seizures, but this is a part of it where the body just takes over. The person that has the seizure doesn't even remember the seizure. It's what they call amnesia epileptic. So while this was going on, yes, I took care of my dad. He would have a seizure. He'd come out of it, didn't know what was going on. My family, of course, my mom and my other siblings, we took care of him. And unfortunately, it was it's just a sad commentary because it was alcohol induced, something that could have been prevented. And so I just wanted to share that with the audience. And that was a young age. I was 11 years old when all this was going on.
wow. Well, you know what? Thank you also for your work as a healthcare giver, because you don't usually
Thank you.
state that, because I know you're an entrepreneur and an author and speaker. But thank you also
Mhm.
for your work as a healthcare giver. Um,
Thank you. And you as well.
Thank you so much. Yes.
You're
So at
welcome.
the age 11, and then, after that, who else did you have to care for who also had cancer?
Sure. Okay, so from that, okay, the age of 11, went all the way through college, all of this, went through the college. Now, the other wonderful person that was in my life that had ended up having cancer, stage 4, was my fiance. We were dating for, I believe it was 2 years. And this was prior to me coming down to Indiana, right? Had
Hmm.
no idea. He didn't have no idea, not definitely. I was suspecting something, but I never did say anything because of the symptoms he was telling me he was having. So from there, this happened in 2013. He was
Hmm.
diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer. Stage 4. Now, by this time, stage 4, uh, it was so horrific that it was so aggressive. Like you said about the aggressive therapy that you have to have. This is the same exact thing he had. By the time they diagnosed him and found out what was going on, he had to have aggressive therapy. It started out with the radiation. We did the radiation therapy. He did the radiation therapy. I'm there as the support person, right? I'm feeling
Right.
some kind of way too. As the caregiver, you're feeling some kind of way too because you're thinking, oh my goodness, I had no idea this was going to happen, right? This took me away from my job, my career as a registered nurse in the healthcare. Nevertheless, I was at home, took care of him. He ended up on hospice. Like I said, we did the radiation therapy, chemotherapy, and I'm just going to put a pause right here because chemotherapy, I'm telling you, in my opinion, is not made for human consumption. That's my opinion. Because I'm telling you right now, when you put that poison, that's just me. I feel some kind of way about it. When he did all his chemotherapy, let me tell you, he never felt the same. Initially, he had to have six treatments, right? 6 chemo treatments, aggressive. And when I tell you it was aggressive, when they started that chemo, I would go in there and sit in this little cubicle, whatever they had for him, for 6 hours. I know a lot of you may not know about it, but they would put what they call a metaport in his chest. They did that. Every time he would go, he get his treatment stretched out over 6 hours. Every time we would leave that place, every time we left that clinic, he was sick. When I say sick, I'm talking about you got all this chemotherapy in your body, all this chemo medication in your body, and your body's feeling some kind of way, right? Your body trying to adjust to this. We're not used to no chemotherapy. So they gave him the Zofran IV sometime. Most of the time he being macho, he didn't He didn't want to take it. He did not want to take his Zofran. I'm like, sweetie, come on. And so when we would get home, I'm telling you, every time before we get home, just that motion from the car, stop, go. He ended up throwing up sometime right in the car. And I know it was a horrific experience for him, but it was even more so for me because as a caregiver, we feel what they feel, right? We're the closest thing to them. So we're feeling the way they feel. When he felt sick and he was throwing up, of course that made me feel some kind of way. And so my hat just go off to you, my sister queen, uh, Travis. I just have to say this, sis, because I know it's real. And I truly empathize with you, sis, because it's just something different.
You
Our
know,
body's
and
just not made that way. It's not made that way. It's not made to take chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and those chemicals are really aggressive to the body. And so
you know,
my hat go off to you, sis. I have to say
thank you
that.
so much. You know, I really
Absolutely.
appreciate that. I do want to recognize some people who have come in: Michelle Anderson Benjamin, Patricia Goodman, Lisa Yvette Jones. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Kate, thank you for being here. Dr. Joe, let me tell you, Herpreneur Network is in the house. I'm really excited about that. You're absolutely right. And my children, my friends, and family. Um, they actually are seeing it because I said to my son today, I was like, isn't it crazy? Like, I can't, that I just have to rest and sleep. I'm neutropenic right now, which means my
Mm,
immune system is like zero. So I can't
yeah.
even breathe on myself right now. And I have to be very careful. And I was like, well, what can I do? And they were like, sleep and rest because my body has to build itself back up. And my children are being my caregivers. My son
Hmm.
came up from out of state to be here for the month so that he can work from home and he can care for me. I literally, like, he's putting the dishes in the dishwasher, he's taking the garbage out, he's washing
Hmm.
clothes, and I feel sometimes just so, and he's actually bringing, I'm so weak and tired, fatigued, like he'll just
Hmm.
bring me my lunch to my bed. I don't look, you grew up, you don't eat in your bedroom. You get up and you wait, right? But I'm just like, thank you. Yes, all I can say is like,
Yeah.
thank you. Um,
Right.
yeah, and that chemotherapy, it is grueling. And I know, look, I'm going to go ahead and say it. People are going to get upset, but look, we're both registered nurses. We can say it. And guess
You
what?
know,
I had to take it because I wanted to live. But it's
right.
poison. But a lot of things we put in our body is poison, right? But it is
Sure.
poison.
Absolutely.
And I was supposed to have 5 cycles, but my body could only do 4. And they said it was
Mm.
fine. Radiation, I had to go every day for 5 weeks, 25 cycles of radiation. You don't just bounce
Hmm.
back from that. They're like, that's going to be months. And I'm like, really? Because
Yeah.
at first I was like, oh, I got this.
Wow.
And out of the 25, I drove myself 22 days. I drove myself.
Mm.
They were all like, girl, I'm not. The patient, everybody's like, how are you driving yourself? But for me,
You can,
I had to show up for myself. Plus, I like driving my car. So I have a 6 shift and I didn't feel useless. I felt like I was an active participant,
hmm.
in my care. And did it take a lot? Yes, because I had to walk probably equivalent to a mile. And a part of it was up a hill from the parking and then go up one hill and then another steep hill and then still walk to the entrance and then go through the hospital down to where
Wow.
radiation. But I had to get the exercise in because I needed my body not to just fall apart and break down.
Sure.
So, I know the toll that it takes on, and you know what? It's so important as caregivers that we make sure we have a soul. Like, my
Hmm.
daughter went with me for 3 of my cycles of chemotherapy and radiation because I had them on and one day, some days I had to have chemo and radiation at the same time. And it takes 3 hours just for I was lucky because I thought it was going to be 6 hours, but you're there, you got to get
Oh
prepped. By the
yeah.
time you do everything, it's all
Hmm.
day. You are
Yeah.
wiped out. And after that, then my son came I finished up my radiation part on my own, and then my son came. And after that, I was able to even take myself to chemo. But I would
Mm-hmm.
stutter. You guys forgive me if I all of a sudden have to pause because I have to collect myself because my brain just
Mm-hmm.
kind of freezes
Yeah. Yeah.
chemo, and that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to say for the caregivers, you have to make sure that you have a team.
That
Sometimes
part.
my
Yeah.
girlfriend went with me and she goes, I just want to ride with you. I know I could, I just want to ride with
Mm-hmm.
you. She goes, I know I can't go downstairs with you into, because of
Mm-hmm.
COVID, but I just want to support you. When I was going for my second opinion and for my doctors, um, there were people I said, okay, we're going to be beside you. We're not letting you. And then my daughter would be
Mm-hmm.
on she'd be virtual. Caregivers need a
Mm-hmm.
support system. So can you share with us about that, about caregivers having a support system? Hi, Lisa Yvette. Thank you so much. Hi, Dr. Nikki.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Dr. Nikki. So the thing, thank you for that question, sis, Dr. Travis. I definitely had to have a support system. Remember, I am still working in the system. I'm still doing the civilian work, 12 hours in the hospital. Eventually, I ended up taking off. But what I had to do for my support system, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and his children, eventually we all came, sat at the table. I'm telling you, because I told myself, sister girl, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I can't. I had to be real with me. I cannot work 12 hours and then come home and take care of my fiance. I cannot do it. Yes, I did it. Yes, I did. However, we sat at the table. We set up a schedule. I had my support system, my brother-in-law, his daughter, his other children, and his sister. We all split the schedule. There's 24 hours in the day. Girl, we broke that thing down. You hear me? we broke that schedule down. So the day shift, his brother would be there. The nighttime, I would be there. While he sleep, guess what? I'm sleep. Come on. I'm
Right.
sleep too, right? And as a caregiver, listen, we got to take care of ourselves. And I did
We do.
not have a problem asking his family, hello, this your brother. Come on, come on. Y'all got to come on through. And they didn't have a problem. I'm saying it as a joke, but I'm telling you, at the time it was happening, I felt some kind of way.
Right.
This was the whole thing, sis. This was the whole thing. He moved my daughter and I from Michigan to get married. That was the whole gamut. So let me share this. I come to Indiana to get married. Lo and behold, I didn't get married. We ended up engaged, but just didn't make it to the altar. And guess
Mm.
what? Now let me tell you something, and this is the for real, for real. You know, you feel some kind of way as a woman. I'm wearing a ring. I got this engagement ring on. That's fine. But we didn't make it to the altar. And guess what? God did not release me from that relationship.
Mm.
I had to stay there. I had to stay there. He has family members, right? But I'm already 2 years in I'm already 2 years in it now. And then he get diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer. I was doing just like you did. I went and took me a drink. I'm telling you, that's just how I felt. And I'm just keeping it real. As
Mhm.
a caregiver, as a fiance, you with someone and they get diagnosed with this cancer. We know the big C. It's just something about when they say cancer. Our whole disposition changed.
Yeah.
Our whole disposition changed. And so I'm okay with it now. I have to be. It's 7 year path and so on. But when that thing hit home, I felt some kind of way. I really did. And I'm like,
Right.
dang, I gotta wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. I had to think about it. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait
Right.
1 minute. Hold on, babe. We supposed to be doing this married thing. Now it went from marriage to now I gotta take care of you. Oh my goodness. Come
That's
on.
it's people don't realize and we don't think about it, but it is a lot. And when you hear as a patient you have cancer, like, I was like, okay, I have cancer. I need to know what the next step is. I try not to jump ahead as to what
Mm-hmm.
stage or anything, but my
Right.
foundation is in God. So I don't share this very often, but when I went to the gynecologist and she says, "Yeah, this looks a little abnormal," he immediately told me. So it wasn't like a shock for me. I just didn't tell my
Mm-hmm.
kids. I just didn't tell
Sure.
anybody else.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
held
Yeah.
on to, but that's because of my relationship with God. COVID has been horrible, killed, I've lost friends, family,
Mm-hmm.
but it also has helped me to get closer to God and listen to what
Mm-hmm.
he says and to his voice. So I was like, okay, God, now I just need to know. Before I even went to you, when the gynecologist called me on a Thursday and said, "What are you doing Friday at 11?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I'm available." She said, "Good, because I already booked an appointment with the oncologist." And you're like,
Wow.
okay. I didn't have time to think, to process it, but God
Right.
had already warned me. And an hour and a half, literally 90 minutes before, 90 minutes, yeah, before I had to give a speech on Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
pre-recorded. So I got the diagnosis and said, okay, I'll show up. And then 90 minutes later, I had to be up, makeup on, dressed, hi, and
Right.
do my recording
Mhm.
and do a speech.
Right.
I didn't have time to do anything else. I had to keep it together. But I'm
Sure.
saying this because having that relationship and whoever your higher power is, I'm sharing with the
Mm-hmm.
audience, that's fine. I'm sharing mine is God. He really
Right.
protected me because I could have like completely flipped. My grandmother had breast cancer, my mom had four
Mm.
cancers. None of them had cervical cancer, not a one.
Wow.
But I had to
Mhm.
then share it with my children. I was crying not because I was like sad. I was crying because of the way I knew my friends and family would take it. And some of them
Mhm.
didn't even
Mhm.
understand the words coming
Wow.
out of my mouth, right? And the thing is, July of last year, I was taking care of my dad who had open heart, who had surgery in
Mhm.
his heart. And I was his caregiver. So here I go from being a caregiver, him living in my house for a month to now me. And I don't know about y'all, but
Mhm.
I'm type A, registered nurse. I am a New Yorker. I am like a black woman.
Come
I
on.
gotta do stuff. I got things I gotta do. I ain't got time for this. And now it's like
Wow.
I can't. I get up like doing this show every Wednesday because people are like, how come you would be okay if you don't do the show? I rest up all day. I sleep
Mm.
all day so that I can
Wow.
be up and ready for this hour because I have to show up because we
Sure.
have to show up for other people.
Mhm.
It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. So I want to
Right.
share. I want you to share with us, like, how do what do you do for yourself to take that time for you? Because people need to. We have people, we have listeners, viewers, and they're going to say, okay, I'm a caregiver, but what can
Mhm.
I do for myself? Because we talked about the patient and stuff, but what can the caregiver do for themselves to rejuvenate?
Well, I'm gonna give them 3 tips that I use. That I know if they use these 3 tips, of course, there's many, many more. But I'm just gonna share 3 tips that I use to help me get through overcoming the loss of my loved one. Eventually he made his transition from hospice and he ended up passing away. So how did I get over that? Number one, I drew closer to God. And whatever like you say, whatever your higher being is, whatever you need to do to get there, do it. And I'm telling you something, I'm gonna put a pause right here because I'm telling you right now, it's by the grace of God that I'm even here telling this story. Because when he made his transition, of course, you go through that grievance, the grieving stages, right? Let's
Right.
not leave that out. You're grieving, you're depressed, you're feeling some kind of way, you're in denial, you're grieving, you're thinking, oh my goodness, how did this happen to me? If I had did this, if I had did that, it might have worked out different. However, he made his transition. What I did was this. Number one, I drew closer to God. I studied the word. As a matter of fact, I have my book here that I wrote about it, that you just read and talked about excuse me, a caregiver's memoir on assisting a loved one with cancer. I will wait until morning. And I talked about different scriptures that I used to help me get through the process. One scripture that I used was Ephesians 3 and 12, in whom we have boldness and access with confidence by faith of him. So I used different scriptures. As a matter of fact, I used 12 scriptures that it may help me get through the process of grieving. And when I'm telling you, grief is an individual thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an individual thing. I can't tell you how to grieve. I can just share with you what I did to help me get through the process.
Right.
Another thing I did self-care. I'm telling you something. I continue to go to the spa. Y'all know I'm a spa girl. This I am a spa girl. Hair, nails, feet, and a massage. Right? This is what I did. Another thing I did, I got around. I only hung out with positive people. Only. That's the only. I cannot even deal with that negative thinking, that negative vibe. Only positive people. Positive vibes only. What did Les Brown say? OPQ, only positive people, or something to that nature. I'm telling you, you have to do that. And then another thing, like the young lady said, I took that hour too, right? Well, I would just walk with God and talk with God. I'm telling you, that serenity of just letting God just come in and just download on you. Whatever you need to do to get you where you need to be, that's what you do. And that's what I did. And I'm telling you right now today, this is the reason I'm still standing. I'm telling you, it's because of this book, National Prayer Book. I'm still standing. That I did a collaboration with Dr. Sherrell. These are the books that kept me where I needed to be. I had to write about it. I had to.
You know,
And so
and
that's why yeah, that's why I met as a caregiver. Those are the three things that I used to get through.
and that's good because people need to hear it because we always say self care. You broke it down what self care is specifically. I also will add to that we have to stay present. You
Mm,
can't like ball up and become like turn off.
that's right.
You have to stay present. You can't. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
we all go through the grieving state of denial, acceptance, anger. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We all do that. That's normal, and we have to
Sure.
allow ourselves to go through it. Um, and then we have to also know that it's just as tougher actually on the patient. So as much
Mm-hmm.
as we're going through as a caregiver, they're losing their independence.
That's right.
And
That's
I think
right.
sometimes as the caregiver, we forget that because when my
Mm-hmm.
son fusses at me, and he doesn't fuss, but he's like, Mom, because I don't know, I saw something in the garbage. I was like, oh, I'll take it upstairs and put it in the garbage or whatever because it's garbage tomorrow. And he's like, Mom, I have it. And you're like, okay. I was just like, I just wanted to feel like I was doing something. And he's like, I got it.
Yeah.
Because of that
Yeah.
typing
Yeah.
I'm used to doing. And we have to let go, say, and
Mm-hmm.
just let other people help us because
That's right.
that's what strength is really all about. I'm going to take
That's
a break
right.
right here. I'll pause and just
Sure.
reintroduce myself. I am TrevisMichelle. Um, I am an international bestselling author times two. I have my
Mm-hmm.
Boss Up with Confidence journal that you can purchase on Amazon right now, and it goes through my methodology, WALK, which is actually what we're talking about now. W, willing participants, starts with your brain, your acceptance of it, being aware. A, action steps. How
Mm-hmm.
are you doing that? Prayer, getting into your word, talking, spending time with God, yoga, whatever your higher power is. Um, Going to a mental health practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
And two,
That's right.
L, loving yourself, which comes with forgiving yourself, which leads to freedom because you drop the dead weight. And K, then redemption. And then the K is kicking butt unapologetically. Don't apologize. Like I don't apologize anymore because I don't want to answer the phone and talk to folks because I'm nauseous talking. Sometimes just breathing
Yeah,
the
yeah.
air. Right now, I'm really nauseous, but I'm pushing through it. So I just don't have the
Mm,
energy. I say to people, I don't have the bandwidth, huh? Because
mm.
my son would text me. I say, I don't have the bandwidth right now.
Yeah.
And then say, it's okay that I don't have the bandwidth. But when you're the one that people reach out to, tell their stuff, and they're used to you being there, I have to say, but
Mm.
I'm priority number one. And that's what you
That's
as a
right.
caregiver have to say, you're priority number one. I
Number
have
one.
soon. I'm so excited. So I can't tell you what it is yet, but we have to always look action steps. What's the next level? And I'm going to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So I hired this coach. I'm really excited about it, guys. Like I'm getting funnels done,
Mm.
all kind of stuff. Because you know what? As caregivers, and even as when we're going through our health issues, we want to do everything ourselves. And they make us
That's
feel right? When we're on Clubhouse and
mhm.
everything, if you don't do it yourself, and you don't get up at 5 o'clock, some people like to work at 3 o'clock in the morning, or they're better at 11
That part.
o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And guess what? If you can't, it might save you time because time is precious. And you save up and say, okay, I won't have my Starbucks coffee all week. I'm going to go to Fiverr or someone else and let them do my
Mhm.
content for me so that you can be available and frees you up to do something else.
Mhm.
Or as my daughter and I were saying, I was like, you know what? I told myself, I said, look, I have to hire a housekeeper. And he
Right.
was like, yeah,
Right.
you're
Right.
right. Because I'm very
Mhm.
clean and I'm a minimalist. So I
Mm.
can't clean the way I want to. Now, granted, my son's going to clean for me, but it's not the way I clean. Okay. It's not the way I do it. So I'm going to have to hire a housekeeper. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. But at first it was like,
Mm.
with myself. But that's part of self care. Taking the time to say, I need help. That is
Mhm.
when you can say, I need help. Every Wednesday, we're here at 10 p.m. We have different guests on. I'm going to let you know,
Mhm.
I'm not sure if we're going to have late night with TrevisMichelle next Wednesday because I have to go to the OR and I'm not sure how I'm going to feel afterwards. But definitely the following Wednesday, we will be back. So
Mhm.
I'm just letting people know, just in case if you don't see me, that is why. Um, but I can tell you, I am going to have my radiation oncologist and my oncologist, GYN oncologist. They have
Mhm.
said yes to coming on and being. I am so
Beautiful.
excited. I am just so excited about that. And I will be advertising that so people come on and ask
Mhm.
questions and they're going to just share and really encourage us as women, especially women of
Mhm.
color, to have our gynecological exam. So you can find me on Clubhouse at Travis Michelle,
Wow.
Facebook, YouTube at Travis Michelle. Now we are going to get back to our regularly scheduled program. So, Evangelist Mims,
You was
I
doing good.
thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And House, thank you so much. Denise Yemenez,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming in. And I do want to shout out Lisa Yvette Jones. Man, Queen, why, I can't be over here crying. Like, I'm not wearing my eyelashes right now because going through chemo and everything.
Lisa.
But Lisa, you also have stage 3. And look, you're on here. So you don't know how
Mm.
encouraging to me
Wow.
that is. We have the same thing, and you're here, and we're
Wow.
fighting, and we're still here, and it's curable.
Mhm.
And when people
Amen.
share, this
Yes.
is so important. You have
Yes.
courage, and it lifted me even higher.
Mm.
Because I had a neighbor, and I told her because we check up on each other, like not in each other's house, but just hey, I see you, how you doing? And I
Right.
shared with her.
Mhm.
She goes, girl, you know what she said to me? She goes, oh, you're curable. Now I hadn't told her yet what the prognosis. She goes, oh, you're curable. I was diagnosed in 1984. You'll be fine. It's 2021
Wow.
last year. So thank you so much for sharing. That means it just means so much. And that's why we cannot keep this to ourselves. We have to share our
Mm-mm.
stories. And guess what?
That's right.
my radiation oncologist said, you know that you have to write about this, right? You know this is a book. It's another book for you. And I'm looking at her like,
Right.
what? She goes, yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to share with women how they can get through this cervical cancer. And I'm really thinking of
Mm-hmm.
starting a y'all can comment on this, a Facebook group to that's just talking about cervical cancer. We have so many cancers
Mm-hmm.
out there, but
Yeah.
cervical
Yes, it
cancer is so
is.
curable, and we just ignore. This is our like, this is our purse, our vagina, our
Right.
cervix, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Our ovaries. This is our purse, and we need to take care of it. It gives pleasure, it gives
Mm-hmm.
life, right?
That's right.
So it's grounded in us and your uterus. Even if you have hysterectomy,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have, when they take that hysterectomy out, it just throws your whole body off
The
balance.
uterus. Right.
So it's so important that we talk about it. So I just wanted to shout you out and thank you for
Yes,
sharing.
Lisa. Thank you, Lisa.
And
I love
also
Lisa.
to Michelle Anderson
Mm.
Benjamin, I don't know if you guys saw her comment where she had 15 rounds of chemo. And when I tell you she
Mm.
on point, like that's normal. Because I'll be talking and be like, and I'm stuttering. And she says, stop and breathe. It's okay. And I get frustrated. And then I'm like, but nobody told me chemotherapy makes you smell. Now nobody else smells me, but that's a toxic. It's toxic. So it
Yeah.
has to come out of your
Yeah.
body. And she goes,
Yes.
yeah, that's normal. That the chemo
Mm-hmm.
brain, they say chemo fog brain, you don't really get it. And we have to just really be more intentional and specific instead of being afraid of it, because people are living with cancer every day,
Yeah. Yes,
children,
they are.
adults, and it cannot be ignored. And we have to keep fighting, okay, every second of the day, and we
We
don't
do.
give up. So we want to make sure that you're encouraging people, because you don't know what folks are really going
Sure.
through. We put a happy smile on our face going through when we have it, because it
Mm.
keeps us up. But we're
Mm.
all thinking about our caregiver, right? So,
Yes.
Sherrell,
I'm telling you. Yes. You
where
can
can we
find
find
me on Facebook as Sherrell D. Mims, Sherrell at Global Caregivers Network. I'm also on Global Caregiver Speakers. What we are doing now, sis, this is the tip of the iceberg. The Global Caregiver Speakers. God downloaded on me to start this number one platform for caregivers. This is all about caregivers. I'm sharing this because we don't have a platform. We need a platform. People are talking, but they're talking within themselves. And just so you know, I have a number that God has given me to work with for the global caregiver speakers. We're halfway there already. I just put it out Sunday. The people are coming in. They want to share their stories. And Lisa and all of those others that's on here, Lisa's gonna be one of the guests as well. She's gonna be a featured speaker. She is coming. Come on, Lisa. I love Lisa. Lisa Yvette Jones. I gotta shout my sister out, my queen sister, because she, like you said, she's been on this ride for a little while too. And I'm telling you, just by looking at it, you cannot tell by just looking at people. Lisa Yvette Jones, Travis Michelle, and others. Ladies, we salute you, ladies. You don't look like what you've been through. And we already know as African American women, we just come a different way. We just take things a different way. We're strong, we're brave, we're encouragers, we're lifter upper. We just do the thing. And I'm telling you, this is what's going on. The global caregiver speakers, anyone that's out there that is a caregiver and you want to share your story on stage virtually, contact me at 260-218-3377, or you can DM me on Facebook and let
one
me
second?
know
260-218.
3377. And I can
Okay.
give them more details about it. But come share your story. I'm telling you, this is the time right now. 2022 is the year that we're going to just break out and just do the darn thing and let the people know, come on, we're not taking this anymore. We are caregivers. Listen, take off the mute button.
Uh-oh, come
Turn
on
off
now.
the mute button. Let's get busy up in here, because our voice matters.
It does.
Caregiver voice matters. It really does. And another reason why I came out with the GCS, listen, I'm listening to folks in the background. They call me. They DM me. What do you have going on? I want to tell my story, this, us, and so, right? So guess what? This is the time. The global, and guess what the name is going to be? I'm all about the heart. The heart of a caregiver summit is going to come forth on April the 8th and the 9th, 2022. It's going to be from 9 to 2 in the afternoon. If we get less time, that's okay. We're not going past, prayerfully, we're not going to do over 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So those
Give
of
the
you,
dates one more time.
I'm sorry,
Give the dates one more time.
April 8th and 9th, 2022, from 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen, we want you there. We want our audience to be there. We want the caregivers. Listen, speak up, tell your story, let the people know how you feel, what you've been doing. Listen, a lot of them are in isolation. They doing some challenges. They doing things, but guess what? Now you have a platform. And listen, Global Caregiver Speakers and Global Caregiver Network is not going anywhere. It's going to be here. So come on, y'all. Come on, do your thing and tell your story. Let the people know what you're all about, what you've been doing, how you've been doing it, and what you want to do for the future. Come share your story. We're looking for you. Global Caregiver Speakers. Connect with me. Join us on Facebook. It's a public Facebook page. Come on out and join us. And I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. It's been a pleasure being here. And I'm telling you, get this book. Anyone that has been through cancer or know someone, get this book. It's on Amazon. I believe it's $19.99. You need this. I talk about different ways of doing things. Also, I got a tidbit in the back where you can put down, what is this? Things to remember. It's a
Mm-hmm.
short read. You can read this book in 30 minutes. I'm a fast reader. 30 minutes to 1 hour, baby. This book is good. So, yes, go forth and get it. It's an easy read. And then for those of you, national prayer. We pray for everything under the sun, baby. Anything you can name, we pray for it in this book right here. National Prayer Book. It's another good one. Don't y'all just love them colors? Look at them colors.
Yes. Like the
I'm
sun
into
is
colors. Yes. And then there's other books, The Win, Women Inspiring Nations. That's all about women. It's inspiring, telling their stories about how they've been inspired and doing things. And then another one, Unleash Your Undeniable Impact. All kind of stories that's in that book, and by how they also inspired and they unleashed their undeniable impact. So that's me. That's Sherrell D. Mims, Global Caregiver. Listen, if y'all don't remember anything else, remember Global Caregivers Network and Global Caregiver Speakers. Sherrell D. Mims. That is me. My sister Lisa, if you still out there, Lisa Yvette Jones, she's going to be on the speaker platform. She's going to come and share her story. And I
yeah.
thank everyone that has stepped up to the plate.
I'm just so
Thank you
thankful
so
that
much,
you
Travis.
invited me to be on that platform with you. And Lisa
Yeah.
Yvette Jones gave, I just want to read it. She says, a study has come out today that indicates that cervical cancer is on the rise for Hispanic and Asian women because of lack of health care, residing in rural areas and no access. And that's why I say the Black and Brown community,
Wow.
women in general, but especially in the Black and Brown communities, we need to have awareness, but we're so busy taking care of somebody, being a caregiver, that we need to, being a caregiver is not inclusive of well, it's not about just other people. It includes being your own caregiver. It includes taking
Absolutely.
care of yourself, of saying and no being a complete sentence, not with
Yes, ma'am.
explanation, not with okay,
Mm-mm.
I have to validate it. No, no is a complete sentence, and we have to be comfortable saying that. So we have to practice. Sometimes you can say, and you
Absolutely.
don't have to say no with a
Wow.
frown. I say no. That doesn't work for me. Thank you. You can say it with a smile, but it's still no. And I don't have to explain to you why, because my toenail hurts or I want to lay down in the bed. It's just
And you know what too? And just to also let the people know, I have an ebook coming out with 5 survival tips to be the best caregiver ever. This is just an ebook, and that's gonna stem into a solo book. Then that's
right.
gonna stem into an anthology. So there you have it. These are things that's next for Miss Sherrell D. Mims. I'm looking forward to what God has in store for me, and also to all of my sisters. I just cannot keep Lisa Yvette Jones. That sister right there. I'm telling you. That's a powerful sister. She's been going through, but I'm telling you, she has been smiling. No one sees the agony of defeat that people go through. Same thing with you, Travis Michelle.
Because
I'm telling
there's
you
no
right
defeat.
now.
There is no defeat. See, we don't
Right.
even use the word because there is no defeat. I don't
There
even
is
use
no
agony.
defeat.
I don't use the word agony.
Agony.
People say, well, how are
Amen.
you doing? I'm mentally,
I,
emotionally, and spiritually doing well. I'm just physically challenged. I don't even
that
say,
that
oh,
is
it's
correct.
hard. Because words are powerful. And when we're going through
Yes.
words, we hold, you kind of click, and then it's in the back of your mind. So I can say,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm good. I'm just physically challenged. I'm physically beat up a little bit, right? But my
Sure.
mind
Sure.
is still good. And that's why my body is still hanging in because my mind is saying, we got this
Yes.
because God has it. He's my foundation and my rock. So my body has no choice but to get on board.
That's
So we
right.
have
In
to be very
alignment.
mindful. And like Lisa was saying, taking care of ourselves and saying no is not selfish, isn't? It's called
Not at all.
yourself
Not at all.
priority number one. Carla, thank you so much, Queen, for popping in. I so appreciate everybody today. Please make sure that you come in every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring folks in. Go to my YouTube page and subscribe. We're going to be here on Facebook. And after
Mhm.
listening to you guys and seeing the comments, I'm definitely going to work on getting that Facebook page.
Mhm.
And like I said, we have a lot of different cancers. However, what I'm going to do, I really want to concentrate on cervical cancer because we don't
Sure.
talk about it enough. And going, looking, doing research,
Mhm.
millions of dollars on breast cancer, millions available in
Right.
resources. And cervical cancer, you're really like, okay. Meanwhile, it's the second after breast cancer is cervical cancer.
Mm. That is so true. That is so true.
So
Wow.
I'm bringing the awareness. I'm about that life, guys. So y'all just keep, give me time, but just keep on the lookout for it and for other things we have coming up. So thank you so
Sure.
much, Evangelist Sherrell
Mhm.
D. Mims, for coming on today
Yes.
for
My pleasure.
right and colon cancer as well. But colon cancer still gets more because remember there was the news announcer who was her husband died of colon cancer. So everybody talks about colon
Mhm.
cancer. They even tell you now that you can have there's a
Mhm.
commercial, there's a box you can send your stool in to see about colon
Right.
cancer. So colon
Right.
cancer gets more attention, but cervical cancer, shh. They don't even want to say the word vagina or cervix, right? And we
Mhm.
have to be
Right.
comfortable with that because it is curable and
It
it is
is.
not, and we have to also bring awareness that saying cancer is not a death sentence. Some people are like,
It is
excuse
not.
me, My grandparents, the big C, they got the big C. No, it's not
Right.
nothing big. You know what? I'm giving it that power. You know, it's cancer. What are we going to do? What are we going to do about it? Let's go. Let's get in and let's fight. And yes, I have to put poison in my body, that chemo, and I call it poison because it is. If
It
you have
is.
to, you can't let it touch your skin. Some people have to come in
Mm-hmm.
all gowned
Yeah.
up. They can't throw it with the rest of the garbage. They have to make sure my IV is good. So otherwise it
Mm-hmm.
will destroy my skin. Y'all, it's
That's
poison,
right.
but it's a poison I need to take in order to live my life, right? So I'm
Correct.
calling it what it is, but I need to take it. I need to have the radiation, so I'll probably be glowing in the dark. You know, I tease my kids. I was like, "Don't worry, because
Mm-hmm.
I have to have my high dose radiation. I just need to turn off the light. Y'all look, you see me
Right, right.
because I am going to laugh, and people are like, oh my goodness, you're not
Yeah.
seriously.
It's
I'm really,
real.
of course I am,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but I'm not going to sit there and be down like you are. I'm not,
Sure.
because I have a purpose. And God said, I shall live and not die, and
And
you
not
shall live and
die.
not die. Right? So Lisa Yvette says, thank you.
Thank you.
She's also very involved with her doctors. And she was saying that she asked her oncologist why there was so much on breast cancer. He said, the men who vote in Congress can see the breast. It's a visual thing. They cannot see the cervix. A hysterectomy is not visual. A mastectomy is. Wow, it's political too.
Wow.
And see, that
Wow.
key word there was men.
Wow.
So we have more women in
Wow.
Congress, but we have to stand up and let our voice be heard. We can't just sit back and go, oh, it's political and
Sure.
that's it. No, we have to stand up and let our voice be heard. And
That's
when you
right.
let your voice,
That's
when you
right.
make noise, the ones who get fed, right? When you open your mouth and speak, as Dr. Nikki always says, a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
Don't get,
So we have to
doesn't
make
get nothing.
noise. We have to make noise so that, you know, somehow maybe I have to be able to make enough noise with my local politicians, right? I'm
Right.
not going all the way up to senator yet. With my local,
Sure.
and then move up. And then next thing you know, I'll be sitting there at the congressional hearing saying why it's so important that the Black and brown community, you know, and women in general, why is there not more attention brought to cervical cancer, and then telling them
Sure.
why we need it, and as
Mm-mm.
advocating as a patient for us. See what I mean? So we can't get
Wow.
political and it's this and it's that, because then it stops us. It's like, oh, well, that's why. That's why. Well, then I have to have a bigger mouth. That's all I'm
And that's
saying.
the thing about it.
So,
Wow.
guys, thank you so much, everyone, for
Wow.
being here tonight. Our hour is up, and I need to now go and rest. So, guess what?
Yeah.
I will see you next Wednesday, unless I just am too tired from, you know, I have to go to the OR next Wednesday in the morning, and I'll hopefully will
Mm-hmm.
be able to come on in the evening. If not, we'll be on the next Wednesday. Please make sure that you follow both of us on our IG, our Clubhouse, Facebook,
Yes.
and look out for all of the great things that are happening in our lives. So this is Trevor's show. Guess what, guys? You know what I got to say. Y'all know you ready for it. Hey, I'm too much for some. Okay.
Yes.
I'm not enough for others. Get on board. You will be. It'll be all right. But guess what? I'm always just
That's
right
right.
for me. Good night, everybody.
Amen.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you, Travis. Thank you so much. God bless you. Good night.
God bless. Good night.